In the last minute, the sports world lit up with the buzz around an unexpected revelation. Shaquille O'Neal and Angel Reese had finally confirmed the rumors that had been swirling like a storm for weeks. It was the kind of news that pulled attention away from the Daily Scroll, forcing eyes to widen and minds to wonder how this all came to be. Shaq, larger than life in every sense, standing next to Reese, who carried the sharp edge of determination in her stride, marked a moment that few could have predicted but many speculated on with excitement. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Shaquille O'Neal has been a towering figure, not just physically, but in the world of sports and entertainment for decades. His career was defined by his overwhelming presence on the basketball court, a combination of force and finesse that left opponents in the dust. But beyond his slam dunks and championships, Shaq had a knack for reinventing himself. Whether it was starring in films, DJing at packed music festivals, or giving quirky takes on sports commentary, Shaq always found ways to stay relevant and in the public eye. His charm lay in his playful personality. He could make people laugh just as easily as he could intimidate on the court. His humor, sometimes childlike, sometimes razor-sharp, created a connection with fans that extended far beyond sports. Angel Reese, on the other hand, is a rising star who carries her own weight in the spotlight. Tenacity and unwavering confidence have earned her admiration and respect, even from those who don't follow women's sports closely. While Shaq's fame comes with decades of history, Reese's is relatively fresh and carries the fire of someone who is still hungry to carve her legacy. She brings a modern edge, fierce determination, and the type of energy that makes people lean forward and take note. The rumors that linked Shaq and Reese started subtly at first. Social media users noticed hints, small mentions in interviews, playful interactions online, and the occasional sighting that left fans guessing. Theories bubbled under the surface, whispered in sports forums, and between friends dissecting the latest sports gossip. Was it just admiration from one legendary athlete to an emerging one, or was there more? Speculation turned into fascination, as both stars seemed to enjoy the intrigue without immediately shutting it down. Shaq, with his infamous sense of humor, dropped cryptic comments here and there, leaving fans scratching their heads and chuckling at the same time. Then came today, the day when all the speculation finally met reality. Standing in front of a crowd with a backdrop that read more like an event for a major announcement than a simple meetup, Shaq, ever the showman, walked in with a grin that was half mischief, half pride. The two made their announcement with a simplicity that caught many off guard. There was no elaborate build-up, no overblown fanfare, just Shaq with his booming voice and Angel with her steady, no-nonsense demeanor. They spoke of mentorship, collaboration, and mutual respect. Shaq, in his usual manner, laced his speech with humor, describing how Reese had schooled him in the modern game when they had discussed plays. Between generations, Shaq represented the old guard, a symbol of dominance from an era when basketball was less polished, more rugged. Reese, on the other hand, represented the future, where athletes don't just play, but also shape narratives, shift culture, and build brands on their own terms. Seeing them together felt like a passing of the torch, or maybe more like an agreement to share it. Shaq's voice, usually booming and full of jokes, softened when he talked about why he chose to collaborate with Reese. He spoke about the importance of supporting the next wave of athletes, especially women who are breaking barriers in sports. Angel, not one to linger in sentimentality, brought the conversation back to her ambitions and what this partnership meant for her journey. Her directness was something Shaq admired. It reminded him of his younger days when he was all force, no hesitation. The humor in their interaction was as natural as it was enjoyable. Shaq teased her about how she had trash-talked him during their practice meetups, to which Reese rolled her eyes and fired back with a line about how she had to teach the big guy what real hustle looked like. The crowd loved it, the banter creating a snapshot of their dynamic, respect mixed with a good dose of rivalry. This wasn't just a partnership for the cameras, it felt real, built on mutual jabs and shared laughs. What was clear was that this moment went beyond the personal stories of these two athletes. For the basketball community, especially young players watching from college courts and high school gyms, this was a signal that the sport was evolving in all the right ways. It was no longer about waiting for acknowledgement from older generations. It was about receiving it and building something with it. The scene told young women in sports that there was space for them, not just to play, but to stand shoulder to shoulder with legends. Shaq's recognition of Reese's talent spoke volumes about how women's sports have shifted from being seen as an afterthought to taking center stage. The days of comparisons and unfair expectations seemed to blur as these two athletes, Different in many ways yet similar in their sheer presence, shared their plans. They hinted at mentorship initiatives, potential training camps, and joint appearances that would blend Shaq's traditional muscle with Reese's sharp modern edge. The goal wasn't just to make noise, but to inspire and pave pathways for the next generation. Angel Reese didn't just smile politely through the fanfare. She took the opportunity to lay out her perspective. She explained how important it was for her to align with someone who understood the weight of influence. She wasn't interested in superficial partnerships or being another name attached to a legacy. She wanted to be part of something bigger, something that reflected her drive and the path she was blazing. Shaq nodded along, a rare sign of agreement from someone who often played the rogue in conversations. Their shared respect was tangible, a connection that spoke of trust and shared vision. The backdrop of this announcement felt like it carried implications beyond sports. For years, women in basketball have had to fight for recognition, battling disparities that male players haven't faced in quite the same way. Shaq stepping up to partner with Reese sent a message that resonated loudly. The bridge between men's and women's sports was shortening. It wasn't just a handshake. It was a declaration that talent deserved acknowledgement, regardless of gender. As the event drew on, the stories spilled out naturally. Shaq shared how he first came across Reese's game, saying he was scrolling through highlights and saw a play that reminded him of the old school grit. It was the kind of play that had him sitting up straighter, eyes narrowing to make sure he caught every detail. Reese's bold move on the court was something he hadn't expected, and it caught his attention in a way few things did anymore. He reached out soon after, starting a conversation that was part coaching, part debate, and all energy. It was classic Shaq, acting on instinct, mixing admiration with a hint of competition. Reese's recollection was less sentimental and more matter-of-fact. She talked about how she was initially skeptical when she received that first message from Shaq. After all, legends don't usually knock on the door uninvited. But as their conversations unfolded, she saw beyond the celebrity status and found a mentor who, despite his size and fame, could listen and challenge her. They bonded over their shared love for basketball and the fire that kept them competing, even when the stakes were high or the court was empty. Throughout the announcement, Shaq's playful nature brought moments that kept the audience laughing. He shared how, during one of their first practice sessions, Reese had mocked his footwork and told him he needed to take tips from the younger crowd. Shaq's exaggerated reaction, pretending to be insulted, drew laughter, but the underlying note was clear. He valued her input, jokes, and all. Reese's smirk said she knew she had the upper hand in that exchange, even if only for a moment. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.